Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be, I just got done putting these 3 totes or bags, firewood bags in here with this one tote. All this wood was in a bag, but the bag ripped as I was trying to put it onto a pallet. Like these 3 are on pallets. Probably hard to tell, but they're on pallets. All this wood was sitting out in the snow, the rain for the last 4 days. And so if you can tell, these are super wet. So this wood's been cut and split, I don't know, I'd say at least 7-8 months, right? So I used to do the bags a couple years back. I'd say like 3-4 years ago, give or take. You got to have a lot of pallets to put them on so they're off the ground. They do dry like that, but I feel like, because when they're just thrown in like that, when it rains, everything gets wet. It's not just a couple and it beads off and eventually misses the rest of the pile, right? Because if you look, this stuff was on the bottom, or on the top of the bag, that's wet. And this was on the bottom of it. I mean, just look how wet that is. Anyways, that's a whole different discussion. So obviously this is all boiler wood. So I'm going to get this going here, and we can kind of talk about it, what my plans are for this kiln cycle here. Yep, everything looks good. All right. You can probably hear everything roaring in here. So I'm just going to try to do this in one take. I'm just going to set you guys up real quick. I'm going to shut the doors, and then we can talk about some stuff. Okay, fans running, should be good. Let's close this. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is just have that go for, I don't know, it's really wet, so there's not much wood in there. I mean, 4 face cores, give or take. I don't want it at 150, I can tell you that. Probably just go to 140 for, I don't know, probably be 3, maybe 4 days. Like I said, there's not much wood in there. I mean, there is, but it's super wet, so it may take a little longer than normal. Like right now, it says it's 78% humidity in there, super wet. And that number will probably climb. Just make sure everything's going here. Yep, heat's flowing. So yeah, I was trying to load it quick because it's like raining outside, right? It's been raining for the last, well, we had snow the last 2 days. It was snowing this morning. So I was trying to get it in there quick because it's like drizzling out, so I didn't want it to be getting all wet. And of course, that one bag just decides to rip on me, which is typical. That's why I don't use those bags anymore. I mean, it seemed like at the time a good option to use. Sorry, I'm moving you guys around. And they are, but you obviously need equipment for those. I know I've gone over some of this in the past, but today is like a reminder. So if you're considering the bags, and I'm going to tell you how it is. I've used them. You need a lot of pallets. You need a machine that can pick them up, obviously. You can dump them. It's not the most easiest, friendliest thing to do. You know, typically you chain the bottom, pick them up, dump them. It works. It's just using the IBC totes the way I dump them, which is the only way you should be dumping them, is way easier. I mean, way easier. You're not dealing with a bag. Yeah, once these are all empty, you got empty totes all over the place, but I've dumped hundreds of these now, and they all look exactly the same. There's no damage. I haven't bent any of them. The bags, so getting back to the bags, I'd say 2 out of the 10 bags will say either A, ripped within 6 months because they've been out in the sun, they deteriorate, they had, you know, mice nests in there, bunch of leaves, debris, because when you're splitting into it, whether you're throwing it in there or having the conveyor, you're getting all the crap in there. So when you dump them in your trailer or truck, all that's in there. You know, for the guys out there that are done stacking, which is ridiculous, you guys are gonna wish you didn't do that, I can tell you that. So when you, like in a tote, if you just use the conveyor, the dump in the tote, you're still getting all that debris. So even though I stack these, right? So when I put them into my trailer, hand stack them in here, yeah, that's more time, but it's less debris. But even when I dry these and then dump them into my trailer, you still get debris, you know? So that's why I still want a disc cleaner, because even though they're dried and ready to go, I want to dump them slowly into a disc cleaner to get even more out. I guess for me, quality is key. I know we're talking about wood here, but it matters to me, and that's why I can charge what I charge, and I get repeat customers every year, and I gain, you know, hundreds more. So, but anyways, that's a whole different argument, whatever. Yeah, you still need a machine to pick these up, but if you're doing mass firewood, you have machines. That's just how it goes. You're never going to grow unless you don't have machines. That's just how it is. Because if you're hand touching this wood all the time, you're not making any money. You're just spinning your wheels. But anyways, so yeah, I figured I might just want to let you guys know if you're considering bags. I mean, it is nice, but if you're going to try to use them for years, I just don't see that happening. So I think originally I bought 250 of them a couple years back. I returned 150 of them, and the other 100, and so we're all ripped, so I couldn't return those. And half of those, I'd say 30 to 50 of those, we use as weed barrier now. And actually it works great for that, which is probably a cheaper option than buying weed barrier, maybe. So just putting that out there for you guys that are considering bags. So yeah, I wanted to get the kiln going. I pulled out the last load a few days ago. I didn't reload it because we had all that snow. I didn't feel like doing it. I wanted to get a couple more in there, so at least, because my wood shed with actual split wood, today's the last day for that, and that'll be empty, which is fine. So I wanted to have at least, I think I got 4 over there, so this will make another 4. So I'll have 8 face cords, give or take. So that'll get me hopefully through, maybe through the end of April, depending on how many loads of kiln wood I do, because when this kiln's running, I go through a lot of wood. So like the last couple days, I haven't had it run, and I'm going through a fraction of the amount. Now I'm going through practically nothing every day, which is great. So yeah, kiln's still running great. I mean, I pulled this load out, or at least one of them. Remember, we only had one in there, and this stuff is good to go. I mean, it doesn't get any drier than that, so my concept works. So I'm happy with that. So yeah, what else? I think, well, I thought we were gonna have a big change this week, but that's gonna be maybe, well, it can't be tomorrow because I'm out of town for the next couple of days, but sometime next week, I think there should be a pretty big update to the channel here, which should be cool. A couple more maybe down the road here shortly. So you're gonna want to stay tuned for that. I'm pretty excited about it, so I would think you guys would be too. So what else? I tell you what, I'm glad I wasn't recording when I was moving that bag, and then all of a sudden the whole bottom blew out. The bag tipped over onto the ground. I had to grab that tote, hand toss it in there, just a waste of time. Wasn't very happy, and I know you guys deal with that kind of stuff. You know, you stack a roll, and a couple days later or weeks later it dries and it kind of moves and falls over. I think that's happened to everybody. So, but getting back to firewood piles, just letting it pile up and not stacking it. I know you try not to touch it again and this and that. I understand all that, trust me. I mean, look behind me how much I stack, and that's a fraction what I have out in the wood yard. So Yeah, stacking wood sucks. I mean, it's a lot of time. You're touching it, I get it. And I know like the super big guys, they just let it pile up into a huge pile, you know, but those guys, they let that wood sit there for most of the time 2+ years, okay? I think a lot of the smaller guys, when I say smaller guys, you know, up to 1,000 face cords a year, which to me, that's quite a lot, right? That's a good amount of wood. I mean, that's probably roughly what I'm gonna do this year, maybe more depending on the weather. You know, I haven't really made much wood. A couple days I plan on making a lot. So unless you're letting the wood sit in a huge pile for a couple years and it's got to have good airflow, you know, the only other issue is you really don't know how much you have in that pile. You can guesstimate by, you know, calculations. That's one thing. I just don't think that's, you know, if you're used to stacking your wood in the piles or in the rows or whatever, it's consistent. You know exactly how much wood you have. It dries consistently, you know, right? Into your big wood cribs or whatever some of you guys are doing, you know, to each their own. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You know, just don't, you know, I would probably maybe do a 30-year wood like that just in case, okay, 6 months from now, you know, you got maple or cherry that dries quick. Into a pile like that, yeah, the tops will probably be pretty dry, the bottoms maybe. But then maybe a third of that pile is not fully dry, right? Now what are you gonna do, right? So, versus beautiful rows, plus it just looks better to me. Rows that are nice and stacked and, you know, they dry evenly. You know, you can cover them a lot easier if you choose to do that. Some people don't, some people do, I don't. I don't know, to each their own. I mean, to me, I think it's a big mistake. Unless you plan on leaving that pile sit there for 2+ years, I think that's what you have to do. You know, you know, and the guys that are in, you know, snow country, that you get snow and it's just sitting on there dripping nonstop, it's all wet, okay? Now, when you have, and I just showed you that first tote, that all that wood is just soaked, and that's been sitting, like I said, I want to say it's at least, it might even be almost 9 months to a year, depending. I moved everything a couple times, so, and now that I have the kiln, I dry everything in here, so it don't matter to me. But all that wood was soaked, right? And I mean soaked. So, and that was all just roughly thrown into a bag. That was off the ground, on a pallet, whatever. Dry. And it was not even close. I know it's been sitting out, but if that was stacked in a row, I'd say 2/3 of that would be pretty dry, even though it's been raining. Give it a couple days, the surface of the wood would be pretty dry, but the rest of it would be soaked. So, I don't know. That's just my input. I've done firewood a long time, and I know a lot of other guys have done that. To me, it's what works the best. You know exactly how much wood you have. You're not guessing. I mean, I know exactly what I have here, right? Okay, now if this was all in a pile, A, that's gonna take up way more space. You still gotta either touch the wood, and then you're guessing how much you're throwing into a trailer or dumping into a trailer. You're just guessing. You know, my customers are pretty, I don't want to say anal, but they want what they're paying for. So if they're paying for a face cord, you best believe I make sure they have a face cord or a cord of wood or whatever it may be. Because most of my customers, 99% of the time I dump it in their driveway, and they're already out there with their wheelbarrows, gloves, whatever, and they have either racks in their house or garage or alongside underneath a lean-to, and they go and stack it right away, you know, and it better be what they paid for. So, not, you know, 1/8 short of a face cord or a full cord of wood. I mean, it matters. I mean, reputation to me means a lot. So that's how I gain all my new customers, and I get all my good reviews and so on. So, because at the end of the day, the wood that you sell or whatever product you sell represents you or your business, and it matters to me, you know. Like I said in a lot of my other videos, that I'd say 90% of all my new customers every year say the same thing about their previous suppliers. Woods, you know, the cuts are not the same. The size of the wood varies big time. A lot of huge pieces. It's not dry. Most of the time they say it's just not dry, ready to go. You know, or it's just junk wood. It's not hardwood. It's more softwood than anything. So I know a lot of you guys who watch who do firewood, you know, you guys do a great job, and you know, I'm sure you're, you know, like how I am with your quality control and so on. So, because you take pride in it, and this is how I make a living. So, just like with trees, you know, you better do what you say you're going to do and not mess anything up in the process. Yeah, stuff happens, but like with a product, it better be what it's supposed to be. So, I know I'm ranting here. That's just, it's been one of those weeks where stuff just gets to me, and I feel like I gotta vent to you guys, because I know you guys will comment and relate or give me suggestions or whatever. So, but I've been so busy, it's not even funny. Lots going on. I got a bunch of deliveries going on. You wanna know how anal I am? So it's been raining, right? My one small dump trailer was full of snow. I shoveled all that out. It's wet. I got it in my bigger shop drying right now. I got it in the garage with the heat on, the fan's right above it. And that trailer's gonna be bone dry before I gotta deliver a full cord Saturday and a face cord to somebody else. I want it to be dry in the trailer and clean, so when I dump it, because it's supposed to get dry the next couple days, but the trailer would still be nasty. I want it to be a good product. You know, that's how much it matters to me. I know a lot of you probably like, that's just overkill. It's snow, it'll dry, whatever. But I don't know. So like when I dump this, look how dry and clean all this is. That's how it's gonna look and sound when it hits the ground. I mean, look at all the cracks in that over there. So, like I said, that's just my input on it. I know it's to each their own, and you may think what I do wastes a lot of time, but you can charge a premium for good stuff. So, and it shows, you know. And I keep all my customers, and that's just how it is. So, but yeah, I'll probably follow up on how this load is in a couple days or when I pull it out, because like I said, that wood in there was so wet. So, I mean, obviously the relative humidity has dropped significantly. Now it's down to 40 something. It was in the 70s because the heat's climbing. So, but that baby is going to be steaming for a couple of days, and maybe I'll show you guys that tomorrow. Tomorrow morning is usually the perfect temp, so you can see it looks like smoke just billowing out of the vent there. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys got some insight on that, and I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are. You know, if you guys are starting to or have just made huge piles of wood, not stacked it. I'm curious to see your results. You know, is all of it dry, you know, or is a percentage of it still kind of okay or whatever? Do you let it sit longer like that? And I know obviously it matters per species, of course, but you know, I do a lot of mixed hardwood. I mean, I separate cherry, hickory, oak. I think that's all I do, yeah. Not all the time, but if I get specific loads, I will separate that, and you can charge more for that. But most of the time, it's all just thrown in. All your mixed hardwoods and all softwoods get mixed in. I keep that for the boiler and whatnot. So, but yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think on that. If I'm just ranting and raving, and to each their own, whatever. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. But as always, keep burning.